Advisor. Welcome back to Hot Tip Investments, where we do finance things with money stuff. Today on this episode, we have my good friend Akeel, who is a public speaker in both Chinese and English. He wants to learn how to start investing, and I'm going to check his finances to see if he's ready. If you want more financial content like this, subscribe for more.
Everyone, my name is Akeel Aline. I am 30 years old. I'll be 30 this year, and career is complicated. I'm currently a student at Fudan University studying Chinese culture and society, but I also am working part-time as a public speaking and debate coach, and I'm concurrently trying to build up my brand as a public speaking communications coach.
Okay. And what are you investing in now?
Good question. I'm currently using the Charles Schwab app.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm investing in the companies I've invested in are Apple, Google, Mondelez, makes Oreos, and I think other things as well. But I think Oreos might be their main product.
And what is your investing goal here?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah. So what do you want to do with it?
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's all about being able to have a financial cushion that, like, if I need to, I can pull out money to help me to get to the next goal in my life.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what is the next goal in your life?
Currently,
Yeah.
the next goal I would say is most immediately, it's being able to go home, go back to the States for about 3 weeks, and then not feel a whole bunch of pressure. But I would say the most immediate long-term goal is being able to settle down either here or in Shanghai with my wife, like have a place where we...
You're married?
Yeah, we just got married.
Married, okay. Are your guys' finances together or separate?
Together.
Together, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Is she investing too?
No.
No. Okay. So all your investments right now is in the stock market. Do you have anything else?
No, yeah, all of it's in the stock market.
And then if you were to, percentage-wise, how much do you have in like funds or how much do you have in like stocks? Before you answer that question, let me, if you were to rate yourself from 1 to 10 financial literacy score, like personal finance, like where would you put yourself?
Like a 4.
Like a 4?
And that's because I like myself. Like I could probably be at a 3, but I'll give myself a 4.
If I were to rate the average American, I'll give them a 3.
Well, then 2.
2?
Yeah, I don't think that I'm at the average American. No,
you're not better than that. That's just my personal opinion because of how much debt people have and how much debt just keeps growing in people's lives. It's like that's not it's not good.
Yeah.
Okay, so are you okay with revealing your net worth? Do you know how to do that?
I'm assuming it's just like my debts plus my savings and investments, right?
It's assets and then minus liabilities. Liabilities would be all your debts.
Okay, it's definitely negative. I mean,
negative. Okay.
It's probably like negative 30,000 USD.
Negative 30,000. And why is it negative? Like what do you have that's making it negative?
The student loans.
Just student loans.
I mean, I have credit card as well, but like I could pay off my credit cards right now.
But you don't?
No, I was told that you want to like be using your credit cards and have them have some credit because it helps build your credit score.
Yeah, it does, but so credit cards, they're divided. The most important thing is like credit history and credit card usage and payments on time. So as long as you pay off the balance on time, your credit score will increase. There's no increase in your credit score if you maintain a balance. You're just paying interest on it.
I mean, I make monthly payments to pay it down.
Yeah, that's paying it down, but the interest is still accruing. Unless you pay off the entire balance, you're paying interest. And then if let's say your minimum payments, most of them in the first few months aren't even attacking the principal debt. Let's say you have $100 in debt. Over the course of that year, on the low side, it's 20% interest, so it'll be $120, but you'll be paying $20-ish in the first few months just to pay off the interest, and then the later months is paying the actual debt, which is 100. So you're paying 20% for no reason. Like, it doesn't help your credit score at all.
Oh.
So if you want to break it down, there's three things. So credit history. You want so credit history is the length of your credit line. So how old the credit card is.
Okay.
Or the credit loan. The next is utility rate. Utility rate is
how often I use it.
No, not how often you use it. How much you use it. So say your credit limit is $1,000. If you're using $1,000 every month, you are considered a risk because you're maxing out your card. So your credit score will go down. You want to maintain under 30%. So if you have $1,000, the max you should use if you want to build your credit without being seen risky to borrowers is $300 if you had 1,000. Best case scenario, use only 10%. That will increase it faster. You'll get a better score if your utilization rate is lower than 10%. And you can always ask your credit card to increase your credit limit. That way your credit utilization rate is lower. So say you were doing $300, it's 30% at $1,000 credit limit. But you can ask them if you can bump it up, and if it bumps up to like $4,000 or $3,000, you still use $300 a month.
But now it's like
10%,
Yeah.
and then your credit score will. So yeah, pay off your balance every month. That's the thing.
I did not.
Yeah, you're losing money to credit cards.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
And it's so funny that you say that you talk about this maintaining the under 30%. So that's like, don't use more than 30%.
Don't use more than 30%. Yeah. And the last part, the most important part, is payment history. So if you miss a payment, if you're late, that will hurt you more than having 50% or 100%, because you are deemed a riskier borrower. Because maybe you use 100%, but if you pay on time every time, it's like, okay, we were worried just for the month. But if you start missing payments, it's like, I don't know if this guy's ever gonna pay.
Yeah.
Even if he's using 10%, like, we don't know if we're gonna get the money back.
Yeah.
That just shows a history. So it's your credit, how long your credit history is, your utilization rate, and your on-time payments.
That's so interesting.
So you make sure you pay do your payments on time. At max 30%. Goal probably should be less than 10%, or you just don't have credit cards at all.
Yeah.
I prefer not having credit cards at all. But some people, they're credit card people. I am not one of them.
Yeah. I mean, but then so there's 2 points that came up to my mind. The first is, it's interesting because I'm gonna share this mistake because you might be like me. Yeah. I just got an increase on my credit card, and I was like, awesome, I can buy more things.
Credit card limit.
Yeah, my credit card limit. Yeah. And so I was like, I can buy more things.
What was it before?
It was $1,200.
$1,200?
Yeah.
USD.
Yeah, USD.
Okay.
Now it's 5,000.
Now it's 5,000.
Yeah. And I was like, sick. I'm gonna use my credit card more, and so I just like used it more. But now I'm realizing that but that was the worst thing to do. I mean, in my mind, I know it's bad, right? Because I know, for me, I was like, oh, this credit card is great because I put my recurring payments on there.
Yeah, recurring payments. Yeah.
And it's useful for me to be able to just say like, yeah, those are recurring, and then no matter what, they can get taken out by what's in my debit account.
Yeah.
That also is also useful for me for any sort of big payments that I need to make, and I'm like, okay, I need to pay them off like over time.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I use the credit card for. But it's like, because I had that higher limit, I was like, I can afford to make riskier or like bigger long-term payments is what I thought, because I was like, oh, I have more money now, so I can afford to make this big purchase and then now pay it off over time. Which, yes, by your expression, I realized that was a poor idea. But
So what was your utilization rate now? Like what is it now? So before 1200, did you max it out?
no.
So what was it before? Like how much did you use? Like
Oh,
600?
just kidding. No, yeah, it was
maxed out.
it was regularly maxed out.
It's regularly maxed
It was
out.
regularly maxed out.
Okay, and then at 5,000.
At 5,000, now it's 3,000.
So you're using 60%?
Yes.
Is this your only credit card?
Yeah, it's my only
So,
one.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. Do you know all your debts on the top of your head? Like, roughly, like the balances?
Yeah.
Okay, so your biggest one is student. How much do you owe on student?
40,000. We're on up. 40,000.
40,000. And then you have credit card debt. And then how much is that?
3,000.
3,000. No other credit card. Do you have any other debt, like maybe car or something? No, that's it. 43,000. Okay. And then how much do you have in investments or savings? Like if you were to convert your money all into USD.
6,000.
Now, do you spend 3,000 a month on the credit card, or that was just
No, it was just like a one time.
one time? What was the one-time purchase?
I bought a business coaching class, so I was like, oh, I need to pay this off, so I'm gonna
A business coaching class?
Yeah.
To what?
I bought a business coach, or like I paid for a business coach, so he's helping me, coaching me in business.
Coaching. What business are you doing?
The public speaking and
So he's. So what? How are you gonna make money with the coach? Like, what is he helping you with?
so he's helping me to build up the business that I'm trying to start.
How is he helping you? Like taxes or
No more.
market or?
Well, so he himself has built up his own business, and so
Yeah.
part of it is he's making sure to give me advice and guidance on how I can navigate and like find my own niche, and how I can start to go and bring in more clients, and how I can even tips on like how I can price my packages and where I can
Okay.
package things like that. Yeah.
Okay. Like, is that coaching already all done, or are you still doing it?
I just started.
Oh, it just started.
Yeah, I just
and
started.
all of that is 3,000, or was a little bit, and then.
It was a little bit, and then it added. There was a difference from his. When I bought his coaching class, it went up to 3,000.
Okay.
Yeah, his coaching class itself was not 3,000.
Okay. So 43,000 in total debt savings. Do you think you would pay off your credit card debt after this video?
All of it?
Yeah.
All of it? Probably not. I'm not sure if I'm not sure.
Do you know what 20% is on 3,000?
Vaughn, you're asking me to do math. That's what is that?
It's 600,
yeah.
but it's 600 unnecessary because you have the money right here. You're losing
Yeah.
$600 by the end of the year if you don't pay it off.
So,
It's $600 you have.
like, yes, and that like is reasonable, and it makes sense. All right, fine, Vaughn. If you give me the advice to pay it off, I'll pay it off.
It's up to you. I'm just showing you that $600, like it's a lot of money.
It is
Like,
a lot of money.
and it's something you already paid for. It's like, why are you paying $600 more for something you already have?
Oh, that's an interesting way to look at it.
Yeah, you already have it. Why are you paying $600 more for it? It's yours.
Yeah.
You have the money to pay it off. It's not like you have 3,000 in debt and then you have no savings,
Yeah.
and then you need to scrape money. You have the money.
Yeah.
And then you build up savings after that. Your student loans, like it's big right now, but the interest on that is very low compared to the credit card. The credit card, you can easily pay it off and then just focus on the student debt, and then that's it.
Yeah.
And then you could do investing, or are you planning to invest while you have student debt?
That's what I've been doing my whole life for the past few years. So,
Okay, so how much of this savings and stuff is in liquid cash, like that you can just toss at the credit card?
about half.
Half.
Yeah.
And so 3,000 will pay off the 3,000. You have no cash left over.
Yeah.
So let's say not the end of this video, but next month you pay it off. That way you have at least some cash cushion next month.
Yeah. That's my biggest thing. Yeah, I was like, I mean, I need to have some sort of cash cushion, but like I could pay this off. I could totally commit to paying it off within the next 2 months. So by July.
Why not next month?
Because the way my wallet works is I'm not sure how much money I'll be getting next month.
Oh.
So
why you're not sure?
Well, just because we're only working part time, right? Like I'm full time in school right now, so like I'm only working part time and getting some money from that.
Okay.
But
wait, is this total debt with you and your wife? Does your wife have debt?
No. So I don't know how much debt she has.
So she has debt, but you don't know how much it is.
Yeah, I mean I know it's more than.
It's more than what you have.
It's more than what I have. She was a what is it? What is it called? An international student in the U.S. So she has some debt from going to school.
Yeah. Did she graduate?
Yeah, she graduated. Yeah.
Is she a doctor?
No.
Is she a lawyer?
No.
CEO? Because
no.
I have roommates that were international students in the U.S. and their tuition was 3 times higher than mine at the state level. And how many years did she go?
4. But okay, but so her like a student debt.
Yeah.
To my knowledge, is not existent. She was able to with scholarships and like other like.
Oh, she has scholarships.
Yeah. Oh. So she was able to like manage that.
Smart enough to be a doctor, but not a doctor.
Yeah. Smart enough to be a doctor, but she was like, I don't need the stress.
Yeah. Okay, but so if she doesn't have a lot of student debt, how do you know that she has more than you?
Because they gave her a credit card with a higher credit limit than mine when she was a student.
So her credit limit is higher than 40,000?
No, but I think she had. I don't know if she has multiple. I think she has multiple credit cards.
And she works, right?
She works now. Yeah. So she's paying that off. She's paying that off now.
Paying it off as in paying off the minimums, or paying it off.
Actually paying it off. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, how do I say this? She's not paying obviously like each credit card like down to 0, but she's paying as much as she can. That is more than the minimum every month.
But she's still using the credit cards.
No.
Oh, she's not using it.
She's not using them.
Okay, so she's just tackling it.
Yeah, she's just tackling it,
and she's not going to use them
no.
again. Oh, okay. Yeah. That's a good sign. I thought she was had a lot of debt and she's paying it off, but still using.
No.
That's counterintuitive.
Yeah.
It's not paying it off.
Yeah. Okay. You're working against yourself.
Yeah. No, she's paying it off. Okay.
Yeah, she's paying it off.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing that people should talk about. Like, I'm not married or anything, but the number one stat for divorce is not infidelity. It is finances.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
It's because some people, when the finances, like, if a husband is making all the money and they hide the finances, but they're buying things they can't afford, but the wife thinks that he's financially stable because he's getting the money, the house is paid for, supposedly, and all this other stuff, and then find out you have a lot of debt. It kind of causes some strife in the marriage, especially
reasonably.
Like, I trusted you with the money and now we're gonna lose our home. Or if the husband has the money and the wife is managing it, but she's like spending it everywhere. That your goals aren't aligned. Like, your investment goal, you want to be married and then go back home often, like Shanghai and the US. But that investment goal is not just for you, it's for both of you. So both of you should be aligned in getting there.
Yeah.
So if you don't know what the problem is, because right now from my point of view, your problem is the student loan. I don't know if you're gonna pay it off, but
I mean, I will pay it off.
It's a problem. But her problem, from my point, I haven't seen her. Seen her stuff. I only hearsay from you.
And I could be wrong. Could be wrong. I don't have a very clear grasp on how much that. We've talked briefly about it, and she's told me about it, and I've been like, that's scary what you do.
Yeah.
And then that was about a year ago, and then since then she's made some changes to really actually be more intentional about like tackling the student or not the student.
But you guys are still young. You guys are late 20s, almost 30. Yeah. So it's not that big of a problem, but these are habits that she's built and you built since college.
Yeah.
They're just gonna grow. Like you just saw 1,200, that was your max, and now you're doing more than double your max with a new credit limit.
Yeah.
Imagine 10 years from now if you continue the same habits.
Yeah.
It's gonna get worse.
Yeah.
Especially with her credit card. It's gonna get a lot worse.
Yeah. I mean, I think she's better than I am with finances in the sense that she doesn't buy things often.
Okay.
Like it was really just like for the way I understand it, it was like she's an international student, so she needs to have live. And so she was like, oh, I have this credit card, I can just use it. Type thing, and I was like, oh, it seems like a terrible idea to give international students a credit card. Like, it's not that in university, I'm like, it's not that you shouldn't trust an international student with money. It's more that like they're an international student, and they probably are not necessarily the most financially literate because they're a college student, and you're just like, hey, welcome to this country. Here's a credit card to help you manage it. I was like, why would you do that? That doesn't make any sense.
Because credit card companies want to make some money.
Yeah,
and it's a great way for them to make some money.
Yeah, that's right.
So we went over your history and what you're doing, and then you're a student and you're doing business coaching, and that both of those potentially will increase your income in the future, which hopefully you will use to pay off your debt.
Yes.
And you are currently investing in stocks right now, and 3,000 of your 6,000 is in savings. The other 3,000 is invested. Could you break down your investments for me, like percentage wise? Like, is 10% in this, 50% is in this? It can be a rough guess.
Okay.
Like half of it is in something. Like, are you funds or are they all single stocks?
They're all single stocks. Okay. So like 1,700.
Okay, 1,700
is in stocks.
Okay.
And those stocks are all single stocks.
Okay.
If you want me to break that down, I mean, it's probably like 500 is in like Mondelez, right? And then like the rest of it is dispersed between like Alphabet and Apple, Apple.
Okay.
And
Google and Apple.
Yeah.
And then the other 1,300?
The other 1,300 is in a high interest savings account.
Oh, so it's not invested. It's just it's high interest savings account. Good.
Yeah.
What do you know your interest rate right now?
4.6%.
That's very good. Very good. It's not beating inflation right now, but it is very, very good. So you have a cushion. You could pay your credit card next month.
Yeah.
Or this month, actually.
You mean in June or?
No, you can pay it off today. You can pay it off today.
But
because originally the 3,000, I thought that's the only liquid cash you have. You have 1,300 in savings.
But this together is the 3,000.
Yeah, 3,000 in investments. You had 3,000 in cash and another 3,000 in investments, right? In total, it's 6,000.
No. This 3,000 is in savings. So this is what. Sorry, I included this in my investment. The other 3,000 USD.
Yeah.
Is like
cash
that I have.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Use that cash, and your savings account, that's the cash cushion that you need.
But then I don't have cash.
1,300 in cash. How is that not cash?
It's savings.
Yeah, savings. You can pull out in case you need it.
But I don't want to need it.
So half of the money in this, if you don't pay it off, will be what you pay in interest the end of the year. Half of your savings is going to be going to interest by the end of the year if you don't pay it off. Potentially.
Yeah, fine. Okay.
I mean, you could pay it off slowly, but that's still a chunk of your savings that you're going to have to take out eventually, or your income, your future income, or you pay it off now and all that future income is yours. Like, you can worry about the student debt a little later. I don't know, it's being deferred or whatever they're doing. But yeah, that credit card, you will never out invest a credit card. At a low rate of 20%, you will not beat it. Do you know who do you think is who's the best investor? Have you heard of his name?
Warren Buffett?
Yeah, Warren Buffett.
Yeah.
Do you know his annual rate of return over the past 70 plus years? 19%.
Oh.
Your credit card is 20%.
Wow.
Warren Buffett's not beating their credit card.
Yeah.
You have to be better than Warren Buffett to break even.
True.
I mean, Warren Buffett does have Apple. He doesn't have Google or the monoliths, but I don't think that these companies are gonna make 20% every year. You know?
Yeah.
So let's say on the low end they're $1 trillion, right? Mm-hmm. That means next year, minimum, they have to be worth $200 billion more, and $200 billion more later, and $200 billion more later, just for you to break even. You're hoping that they make that much money. Not make that much money, but they're worth that much
money, yeah.
Every year over year over year, just for you to break even on your credit card. I'm just that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
You know? Could they do it? Maybe.
But I mean, yeah,
realistically, the $200 billion, like not a lot of companies are worth $200 billion. You know, there of what 4 or 5 companies that are worth $1 trillion. They got Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google. I think that's it. Oh, or Saudi Aramco. You know, of publicly traded stuff. Yeah, they're like even Louis Vuitton is worth like 400 billion. You know, it's, you know, yeah, it's up to you. It's just like I see a cash cushion right here, 1,300. Yeah, and just imagine that's 700 at the end of the year if you don't pay it off today.
Yeah.
Okay, your single stocks. Are you gonna put more in it?
I mean that's the goal.
This is the goal. Why are you choosing single stocks instead of like funds?
Again, because of investment advice that I've heard, where they would like start with what you know. And I know these things.
You know these things.
I don't know
funds.
Yeah, I mean I know there's like what the FANG. I don't know if that still exists.
FANG,
right?
FANG is not a fund, but FANG just describes these tech giants. So it would be Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix,
Google.
Google. Yeah, that would be FANG.
But like the S&P 500, those are
that's a fund. Yeah, that's an index, and then brokerages have made funds copying the index. Like, here's the spelling words, right? And then kids, they would copy the spelling words down. That's basically what the ETFs, the funds in different brokerages do. They're just copying down the spelling words. That's okay. Oh, you have 2% in Apple. I'll have 2% in Apple. I'll have 2% in Microsoft. Oh, you have 0.001% in American Airlines. Okay, I'll have that. And they just copy that list. But do you know the average rate of return of that list?
No.
Year over year, the past 90 years, it's 10%.
Oh.
So if you were to invest $100 in that within the past 90 years, your average you would double that money every 7 to 8 years. So 7 years, that 100 will be 200. 7 years later, that 200 will be 400. 7 or 8 years later, that 400 will be 800.
Yeah.
And it's been that way for the past 90 years. Even with crashes and everything. Yeah. It's but the last 10 years, it's been a lot better, exceeding that. It's been closer to 14% the last 10 years. So expect that the next 10 years might be below 10%.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you want to learn more about single stocks or funds? I usually recommend people start with funds because single stocks requires a lot more work, whereas a fund, it just buys a basket of stocks and then they hold that for you. And with the index fund, it's grown. It's doubled every 7 years, you know, for the past 90 years.
Yeah.
That includes the recent COVID crash. That includes the 2008 financial crisis, the dot-com bubble, Black Monday, and the terrible stuff in the 80s, the World War, both World Wars, Great Depression. But if you had it invested the entire time, it's doubled every 7 years.
Yeah.
Like if you were to go back and 16, and your parents had $10,000 to put into an index fund for you for your retirement, so when you're like 55, yeah, you could access it, or buy you a new car. If they just put the $10,000 in that fund for you, and then you didn't put anything in investments, when you're 55, you would wake up to almost $600,000.
Wow.
And that's if they put it in when you were 16.
Yeah.
Potentially, that's what you would have.
Yeah.
And that means from 16 to 55, you didn't put a single dollar into it. Like your parents already set you up for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. In single stocks is a bit scary because you don't know what they're gonna do unless you do a lot of research.
Yeah.
It's like another job, and most people cannot beat the index. Like most even fund managers don't beat the S&P 500. That's why people like Warren Buffett, they recommend people just invest in the index if you're not gonna do your own due diligence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so what do you want? Like single stocks, like, I do single stocks as well, but I love this, so yeah. I dive deep into it.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I want something that I don't have to worry about, so.
Yeah, so I think index funds is a good way to do it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm open to learning more. The biggest barrier for me, also why I never started with index funds, was because I didn't have enough money to invest at once to do it. Like, I mean, and I didn't know what, like, I was using like Robinhood at first, and then I switched to Charles Schwab, right? And the way that I understood how to invest, it was like you have to buy a full share, right? And the full share is worth that amount of money. And I was like, I'm not investing $1,500 at a time. I'm investing like $25 a month because that's all I've got to put in, so in that case, I was like, let me just look for the stocks that I know that are cheap enough that I can invest in, and there will be some sort of growth.
So you could afford $200 in Apple stock, but you can't afford $1 in an index fund? Because you only need $1.
But I thought you had to buy the full, like each share is worth that thing, right?
No, so they buy a basket of stocks, and you put $1 in, and that dollar will be split into all those 500 companies.
But I can put in $1?
You can put in $1.
I thought I had to buy it at what it's worth.
No, you put in $1 of what the basket is worth. They will separate your dollar to equally distribute to all 500 of those companies.
So I don't have to pay what the basket's worth?
No, you're paying what the basket is worth. Let's say the basket is $100, right? You put $1 in, you own not 100%, you own 1%. But that 1% is split evenly to all the eggs in the basket.
But I thought I had to put in 100, or at least 100.
No.
So that's why I never did it. Because I was like, I have to buy this thing. I mean, like when you buy single stocks, you have to buy the whole thing, right?
No, you can buy fractional, which is a fraction of the. Yeah.
Did not.
It depends on what brokerage you use. Charles Schwab, I believe, they have fractional shares.
So I found that out when I switched over to Charles Schwab, right?
Yeah.
Like that, I could do that now.
Yeah.
I think Robinhood at some point eventually introduced maybe fractional, but like when they first had it, it wasn't really a thing. So it was like I have to buy one share.
It's the same with the funds. You don't have to buy a whole share of the fund. You can buy fractional shares of the fund.
Okay. Well, no.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just telling you. When I first started investing, I was like, I thought I had to buy the whole thing, and so now it's like, with this, this is money that I had from previous investments, like when I switched, and then, so that's when I came in and I was like, cool, I have this thing now. I have enough money that I could buy a full share of this, and so that's why I put in 200 or whatever to other.
No, it's a question people should ask, but you could do partial, fractional. So I recommend the S&P 500. Charles Schwab has their own version, which is a low expense ratio. So expense ratio for a fund is how much you have to pay every year to keep it, because they're managing it for you. Usually funds are around 1%. That's considered a very expensive fund. But the index fund, because you don't have someone managing it, they're just copying like the list on like a spelling test or something. It is 0.025%, I believe, at Charles Schwab. So every $10,000, I believe it costs you like $2.50 every year. Every $10,000 you have invested, $2.50. Or every $1 million you have, it's like $250. Yeah.
That's cool.
Versus 1%, if you had $1 million, that would cost you $10,000 instead of $250. And that fund would perform worse than the S&P 500.
Yeah.
On average, yeah.
So then, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go.
I was going to say, so then, like, if I were to switch, or like, would you then recommend me switching from my single stocks to funds?
You can keep the single stocks if you want those single stocks, but if you want to reach your retirement goal, funds have a proven track record of getting you there. Most new millionaires that retire, they do it through their 401k, through investing into funds, because it's managed by someone else that's more financially savvy, or they just trust the American stock market. Like, if you think the stock market is going to crash, then it probably will, but it will recover. Like when people said the U.S. the stock market is going to be gone forever, it's like it doesn't look like it was in 2008, where people were losing their. It doesn't look like the dot-com bubble when all these companies were bursting. It doesn't look like the Great Depression when rich people were standing next to old people in line getting bread. It recovered from that as well.
Yeah.
So unless it gets to the Great Depression level, I don't think the American economy is gonna go down that hill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I think it's the safest strategy if you don't want to look further in. Yes, you can make more money in individual stocks, but that also means you have to put more time into it. Versus I think you want to put more time into your business coaching, like learning how to teach people to do public speaking, and your education, because that improves your current income. Yeah, you can make 20% on a single stock, making your $100 into $120, or you have a business where you get paid $300 an hour.
Yeah.
Which one is better? Is like studying to get that 20% for $300 or for $100, or getting that $300 every hour for the rest of your life? Yeah. So you can keep it, but I would put it all in funds. Yeah. S&P 500. I believe I'll have the ticker below for the Charles Schwab version, but yeah, of the three brokerages I would use, Charles Schwab, Vanguard, and Fidelity. Charles Schwab has the second best index fund.
Sure.
Like, Fidelity has better, but it's marginally better. Like 250 per million, and then Fidelity, it's 150 per month. Like, you save $100, but you save $100 when you have $1 million.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it's really low, in the long scheme of things.
Yeah.
Versus $100 at $10,000 is a lot, which is what 1% would cost you.
Yeah.
If you do a regular mutual fund.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So I would say pay off the credit card now. Do your business and finish your degree so you can start making more money. Your wife pay off your credit card, and then you start working on your student loans. And then if you want to invest while paying off your student loans, I would put it in funds. But before I put it in funds, I would try to have a bigger cash net than the $1,300 that you have. Yeah. That's what I would do if I was in your situation.
Yeah.
But as for the last part, I want to ask you, what do you think? How do you feel right now about your financial situation?
I feel attacked. I feel attacked.
I feel attacked.
No, but I mean, it's good. I think a lot of the things a lot of these are things that I had marginal awareness of, but there are also many things that I realized I have a lot of blind spots in. I did not have this information about the credit card. It was just plain flawed, right? And I was like, when did I learn this, that it was flawed?
Yeah.
And even then, I think there are certain things that I personally need to, my person, I need to correct my relationship with money.
Okay.
You know, but I do think that once I am over feeling like so many changes, that I will also feel really in a better place to then make the changes that I want to make, you know, because at the end of the day, it's like you were saying earlier, I have a family now. Like it's just me and my wife, but she's my family. Yeah. And I want to be able to go and see
have kids.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, that's a long-term goal for us, for sure. You know, so, and everything that we talk about, I'm like, this is not the goal for everyone, right? But for me personally, I'm like, I feel like my role in our partnership is to make sure that I do as much as I can to provide a very financially stable base for whatever we want to build up afterwards. And she's my partner in doing that. But because we live here in Shanghai, and she's Chinese and I'm foreign, like we're both very realistic about the fact that chances are I have better opportunities to make more money here, right? And so if that's the case, then I see it as my responsibility to be able to invest more wisely the money that I can invest while I can invest it. So I will get over my hurt feelings at one point in time and actually start making these changes because it's important and it's good. Yeah.
So you feel hurt? Do you think it was necessary?
Yeah, no, I agree. So I don't feel unnecessarily hurt.
Yeah.
I feel it's more just, you know, it's like when you have your world shattered, you have your reality broken, you're like, oh man, like everything I've been doing is not everything I've been doing is wrong, you know, but it feels like I've been doing a lot of things wrong. You got to first get over the fact that you were wrong, and then decide, okay, what are you going to do about it? And now I'm going to try to do things right. So
okay, so last 3 questions for you. Usually I have every guest. First one is, what is your biggest financial success? Like, what was the biggest thing you did financially that was like, this was a good decision, I'm gonna pass it down to my kids, they're gonna learn from me?
I would say opening a high yield savings account.
Opening a high yield savings. When did you do that?
2021.
2021. That was the best decision.
Well, I mean, it's starting to invest. I think in general, like opening my Charles Schwab account was the second, but I think for where I was, I think that was the best because it allowed me to, number one, get the instant feeling of financial security that I needed. And then it also allowed me to say, oh, okay, cool. Like, it was a safe way to watch my money grow. I watched it grow every month, and I was like, oh, wow, this is cool. Like, what else can I do? And that's when I started to explore other options, like, for more seriously exploring other options for investing. So that's why, for me, I would say it was the smartest thing.
No, it's good. Like, if you count your cash plus what's in your savings account, that's $4,300.
Yeah.
You know, more than 70% of people can't afford a $500 emergency. You're well above average. So I think you should rethink your score as above average.
Well, we'll see.
And then your biggest financial mistake. Like, what was the biggest financial mistake?
I would say the biggest financial mistake, honestly, for me, was developing a really terrible habit with regards to my finances, which still is, this idea of like, I kind of just spend money and believe that it will come back. And that is part of my habit.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think...
You will tell your kids not to do that?
Yeah, I want to tell my kids to really think about, what is this worth?
Yeah.
Really? You know, when you're spending the money.
What is it worth?
Because if it's not worth what you're paying for it, then don't buy it.
Okay.
Sorry. Can I also... I know you asked for one, but I'm going to give it another one.
Okay.
Honestly, the biggest financial mistake that I've made was coming to China and downloading Taobao within the first month. I swear to you, Vaughn, if I had not downloaded Taobao within the first month of being here in China, I would have so much more savings. Yeah. Because I was like, I have all these savings. What am I going to do with it? And then somebody was like, you can buy things on the internet. And I was like, I don't have access to Amazon. And they were like, here's the Chinese version. And I was like, oh. And all my money... I've wasted so much money on Taobao. So
Taobao is Alibaba. That's the company that is like the Amazon in China. For those of you who don't know,
if you move to China, first year, don't download Taobao for the first year. I promise you, you won't regret it.
Okay, and then since you're giving advice, if you were to go back in time and you were able to talk to your 20-year-old self, what would you say to them?
Oh, that's tough.
This is your 20-year-old self right there.
Okay. My 20-year-old self.
Just your best advice.
20-year-old Akeel, all those drinks that you spent at the bar, they're going to be gone by the end of the night. But if you put that money away, it's going to be there for the rest of, not your life, but the time that you need it. So drink less, save more.
Drink less, save more. Good. Any final words before we end this? Like how you feel overall?
Yeah, I hope my wife doesn't get mad at me. I'm pretty sure I'm wrong about how much debt she has. I do think she's paid it down. Look, I have my priorities straight. I have to make sure that if we end this, I'm ending it on a good note for the wife. But overall, it was super useful. I've had conversations with you before as a friend, but I think this was the most direct and the most insightful financial conversation that we've had, and I'm really appreciative for it. Yeah, so thanks. Yeah,
thank you, Akeel.
Thanks so much, man.
Hey everyone, thank you for watching all the way to the end, and now we're going to go over Akeel's financial situation. He rated himself a 4 out of 10 with financial literacy, and after seeing his financial situation, I kind of agree with him. He doesn't know how to use a credit card, so he's not a credit card person. He probably should cut them all up after he pays them off. As far as student debt, it's very big. He should tackle it, but now that he's still a student, he should wait till after he graduates and finds a good job, then start paying that off. And with his wife in a terrible-ish credit card situation, he probably should talk to her about that so she doesn't fall into the same mistakes that he's doing. And as far as advice, pay off the credit card, start saving cash. You don't need to invest right now. You need to find a better job. That way you can pay off the rest of your debt. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and until next time.